Did y'all we see you now, sweet. That's the one thing that's nice, I guess, about Streamlabs is it just auto reconnects like if you start losing it. I don't, yeah, I guess again, who knows, that could definitely be, I'm gonna be running like the longest RJ45 cable all the way downstairs to my, getting that 800 megs, baby. I don't need this shit. Good. You know, maybe it just needed a refresh or reconnect. You know, sometimes you just need to clear out the old net webs. So that's good. Sometimes you just need to take over. As soon as I said it, it started refreshing again. Oh, like it's jacking up again? Now it's buffering for you? It's looking good on my end. I'm getting much better now. I don't know, maybe we're going back through the cycle here again. Son of a biscuit. This is gonna be a problem. And Dada, I don't know if he looked like he fell off. He probably is not in the chat anymore. I don't know. It's so hard to tell sometimes, and you can't tell who stayed in chat, who's not. I always think it's really weird too. Like, how come when you look, and this is to any of you longer term Twitchers, how come like when you look at your chat and like up here it'll say like 2 viewers, but then like if I go look at users in chat, now of course I see there's a couple there that are like dummy, they're like bots, right? But then I do see other users in there. So like how do they not show up as viewers, but they're actually showing up as like chat users? I don't know. It's weird. I just kind of curious what the deal is with that. How do you know? What's the difference between a viewer and somebody that's just like in your, I don't get it. Oh, are those people hosting you and stuff maybe? And they're not considered viewers because they're not actually, how does that work? I wonder what that means. Who knows? Okay, let's get back to business. God dang it. Hopefully we'll stay online. It's a bot. I don't know how it works. Yeah, I don't think it's a bot. Like, there's like legit, I'm not going to call them out, but like there's definitely legit names in the users in here. Like I see Mets and Cough, I see Data to Attitude, you know, and so, but there are some other ones in there. Now, some of the ones that I know or not is like another viewer. That one shows up every time. Stream Elements, I know what that is. But there are like a couple other people, and that's cool. It's awesome if they're really there. But I just don't know if they're really there, because at the top it just says 2 viewers, but then it shows like, here's how many people I think are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like I count like, and that's including like Data to Attitude and Mets and Cough, and I'm only calling you out because you guys are actually commenting in chat, but there's like a total of like 6 to possibly 7 legit accounts like that are in the chat. But then as the viewership or the viewers at the top, it says 2. So it's just an interesting, I just wonder how they derive like that number. Like, where do they get that from? Be interesting to know. Hopefully the stream is hanging on better now. No, Twitch is definitely weird for that, right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like maybe people have to be chatting to be considered viewers. Like maybe somebody has to, they have to say something for it to show up. I don't know. It's like a weird thing. Okay, so my whole point to all this was, oh, and you were saying, what was your point before we died off? Hopefully we're holding on here too now. So you were saying in this that I should make this like LL, you said, and is that just so that it doesn't overtake another command, like a legit command like ls? Because LL, I'm assuming, is not a legitimate Linux command. right? So you're saying like use that instead so that you're not overwriting. Look at how long it took for that to pop up. That's so funny. So was that the idea, Matt? Is that you're not overwriting a legit, although it doesn't really overwrite it per se, right? Because I can still type ls space dash something and it seems to work normal. But so let's see, so ll now does that, right? Ls is, oh wait, why is ls working still? Oh, I gotta do the whole source thing, right? And now ll does that, right? And ls should not. Good. Right? Is that the idea? You keep ls and you get ll when because ll is nothing, right? It's not a legitimate command, right? And ll seems faster. Is that right? Same key. Shit, you could just make it l, right? You could really make it quick. Just do it L. That might not be great, but LL, I like it. LL, long listing. You can make a CodeHustle, which would be a lot of words to type. Now you're just making my life miserable. No, just kidding. Okay, so the whole point of this was I was trying to do something here. I'd make CodeHustle echo. I'm amazing, right? So we were going to make a directory and see where am I at? No, not in here. So let's go ahead and change back over to our home. We should have ll, sorry, right? We have Metzenkoff in there. Let me change right now, right? Shouldn't I be able to change user for that folder, for that? They're not talking about that yet. Do they talk about changing who owns? Who owns the directory? Like this right now, root owns this. If I wanted to change that so that I own it, so that JD owns it. Oh, ownership permissions right here, right? We're skipping ahead. Chown, that's it. Sudo change owner to Patty of that thing. Okay, I'm gonna do that. We jumped ahead. That's okay. We can do that here. We're big boys and girls. We can make our own damn decisions. So chown, change owner JD on the Metzenkoff file, right? Ooh, not permitted. Oh, really? How about I do this to you, you bastard? You filthy animal. You think you can overtake me? I'll sudo your butt. What? Sudo is not a command. What kind of garbage is this? This can't not really, like. This is probably gonna say it doesn't exist as a thing, but I'm just like, is that like something you have to install? Are you root? You goddamn right. Okay, so let me let's app. I don't know, is this gonna work? Kind of looked like it was going to, actually. We're getting some sudo, I think. I don't know. We'll see if this works or not. Okay, setting up sudo. Looks like that is now in there. Just go to root and then change permissions for root files. Sudo, yeah, right, but unfortunately, as you saw, I did not have sudo permissions, right? Now, does sudo su and then the user afterwards? Like, if you do that, is that like saying switch the user to this user and give them sudo as the? Is that like if I do I won't do it right now, but if I said sudo and then JD, they really installed the bare minimum. Yeah, they really did. From member to root, gotcha. So anyway, so then we want to not here, we want to change to home, and I like how the root, did you notice that, Mitzenkoff? I did the LL. Oh, right, because is that why? Because no, that they should have two separate bash aliases, right? Right, because if we do find, how do we do this again? Find in the root name bash rc. Did I remember that command correctly? Word. Oh, right. So okay, no. Sorry, I meant to do this. Why did that not come back with anything? Oh, maybe it's not bash rc, right? So root has a bash aliases and home JD has a bash aliases. See, there's no home CodeHustle bash rc. Yeah, but so my JD, right? That's where we set the LL for long listing, but that is not what is in the bash aliases of the root. But I'm in root right now, and when I do LL, look what it does. Why? Like, does the root just freaking ingest everybody's aliases? I wouldn't think so. That just seems odd. So like, I'm kind of like, right? So like, if I cat out, just to kind of like, so if I cat that, I'm gonna do this real quick. That has that in it, right? And if I cat out this one, look at that. What? Is that not the craziness or what? We have two separate alias. When you select the text, you can press the scroll down button and it will copy highlighted text into your terminal. I'm sorry? What do you mean? When you select the text, you can... You mean when I highlighted it like this? And you said if I... Ah, nice. And so you meant if I click the scroll down button, yeah, press, you did say press. Yeah, oh, that's cool. So like if I literally just highlighted all that. Haha, nice, good tip. That's awesome. I like that. You don't need to move down too, I think. Yeah, no, that's a cool one. All right, so I'm still kind of confused now. I'm a little baffled at this whole thing here with these aliases. I mean, those are two separate. LL should not work here for the root. That's just weird. Although Although maybe it's because JD is still here inside that's why it does that. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna do this because we were here to do this. Change owner of how did they say to do this again? It was change owner, was it the file and then the person? Change owner on or was it the other way around? Obviously the other way around. So now it says JD here, but how do you get this to change this to JD too? What is that? And what do these two different columns mean? That's a good question too, right? Like you have these two columns. I guess this is the owner of it, right? But then what is this? What's that piece? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll find that out in the owner permissions one. So switch user. Why can't I remember this all of a sudden now? There we go. That's just so funny. Don't quote me on that. Maybe part 3 will say, I think user group and other group or something. I got you. Oh. Okay. I could see that making sense. Here, user, like who's the user? What group are they? What group is associated to the? Maybe they'll talk about that on the second page, hopefully. He said part 3, right? Yeah. Okay, so cool. So what we wanted to do was mess around with this a little bit. So I was trying to just do things like, if we chmod, I'm just going to do their example here. They said u plus x 2, and I'm going to do it to the directory Metzenkoff. What does this do? So that's what it looked like before. And so this has dr. No, I think it changed this last bit here, right? It looks like if we go look at this up here, yeah, right, it was an X before for executable, right? Try with attack, and then down. Oh no, it still is the same. Where did I? What? Didn't I just? Oh yeah. No wait, that's. You said try with attack. Oh, to like to change. Was it already an X? Wow, that didn't change it, right? Where is it? Can you not do this on a directory? Do you have to do it on a file? I don't even know what this is supposed to do. The above command reads like this: change permission on my file by adding executable permission bit on the user set. So now the user has executable permission on this file. You can do it on anything. So this would take away executable permission, shouldn't it? It still didn't do it. Look, it's still showing up as that, right? Shouldn't that go away? Or am I missing the spot that I'm supposed to see that in? Let me switch that back and see if I'm... Because I said minus that. What is that? It took it away. From where though? Am I missing this position? if I add it back. So right now we have drwrxrx. User is the first RW. Okay, so if I do, oh right, so is the U saying for you? Okay, hold on. I'm getting the hang of this. Hold on. Okay, so we added. No, right here, right? This is the first block, right? This is the second block. This is the third block. Got it. So I see. So this part right here, this U is user, and saying add or modify the permissions for the user whatever you want to call it, section. I don't know, I don't want to say group because group is not the word I want to, but if you did like a G, right, that's the group one, and then I guess what's other, I wonder. Yeah, I see. Yeah, G plus or G. Yeah, gotcha. Then it user group other, right? How would you define other? Because they show the user, they show the group. What would be the yeah, what would be the indicator that you're doing other? Is it O? Or it had its own notation? Either O or it had its own notation. Well, I guess we could try it, right? We could say change. So right now it's got X on there, right? So what if we took off X? Yep, that was it. It is O, other, so that works. Okay, cool. So removing permissions, okay. Adding multiple permissions. So you could do the user, the group, and then add write permissions. Now, can you do like this? Can you say, so I have read, write, and execute. So let's do the group. So, or let's put, no, hold on, sorry. I just want to mess around. So let's see, chmod. If you wanted to do the user, group, and other, and you wanted to add, if you wanted them to all be, so would this work if you said read, write, and execute like that across the board? Would that? Oh yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Nice. God permissions. Look at it turn green too. It's so popular. It's like you can do everything with this. Okay, so now you also, so if you wanted to change, so right now, like typically we had the user was good like the way it is, but then the what am I trying to say? I can't speak. The group should be, so we'll take off user, the group, and we can just do this individually, right? So the group should be our tag execute, right? So if I do that, read, write, no, it says, I said our, why'd that not work? Did that, oh, because that, did that, you will probably only be using numbers because they are more fun and more convenient, right? You have to say, yeah, I was gonna say, I think I did something because this is like a minus, right? Plus or minus. So I'm saying like for the group, add, and do you just do like this? And then that goes across correctly? No, that didn't work. So G minus RX, isn't that what I just did? Oh, G minus RX, well no, hold on. I thought we wanted it to be, No, that's still not right. We want it to be, so this is read, write, execute. We want this one to be read minus and execute here. So how do you do that? Oh, maybe you do you say add, see, I would have thought you would just do it like that, and then wouldn't that? That's not what I want. But I can do this, I think, and get rid of it, but I don't really think that that's, like, if I do this now, will that? There we go, right? Now we're getting closer. And then I would want to do for other, we just want, actually I do want to minus that, right? That's it, actually. And then now we're back to the way it should be. I believe the file permissions are our future. Awesome. Yeah, right. And you're like, and now we can just use numbers and stop messing around with all this BS, right? Right, Matt? All right, so there is another way to change permissions. Right, there is another way to change permissions using numerical format. This method allows you to change permissions all at once. Instead of using read, write, or execute to represent permissions, you'll use a numerical representation for a single permission set. So no need to specify the group with G or the user with U. The numerical representations are seen below. So 4 is read permissions, 2 is write permissions, 1 is execute. So in total, if you want someone to be able to read, write, and execute, that would be 7, right? If you only wanted them to have read and execute, it would be a 5, right? If you're doing it, so this would be, right? This would be the user has read, write, and execute. The group has read and execute, and everybody else has read and execute on that same file, right? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So, I mean, this should give us the same thing, right? Word up. But if I went like this and said, now we got it across the board. Nicely done there. So we'll put it back to what we want. So we want, again, right? What do we say? So the 7 is our group for our user, right? And we want them to have full access. So 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is read plus write plus execute, gives us 7. That gives us that group permission now. The group, or that user permission. Now the group, right, is 5 because we only want them to have read and write, or read and execute. Read is 4, execute's 1, total is 5. 5 is the answer. Got it. Same for other, good to go. Bam, bada bam, back to the way it was. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Got it. I like it. Can you guess what permissions we're going? I did guess and I got it right. Try to give write and execute to others now. Fine, I will. All right, so what do we want to do? Let's try to give write and execute to. So if we wanted to do like peanuts text, right? You could chmod our peanuts, and what did you say to give them? You want write and execute. Oh, I see what you're saying. To other now. Got it. I see what you're saying. So you were actually saying this. You say give write and execute write and execute to other. So actually this is 5 still, right? That'd be 3. Write and execute. There we go, Matt. Getting crazy now. I didn't think so. All right. All right. Sysadmin in the making, right? Hey, I'm just trying to... Actually, I'm doing this because somebody had... I think I told you this already, but somebody had said that, you know, really have... Not that... I mean, having good Linux skills is really good. Having any command line, I think, right, skill for the operating system you work in the most is really good. And I'm doing a lot more Docker and rel stuff, and you know, working in the command line a lot more. So I just wanted to really start grabbing on to learning some, and of course the best way is, right, you got to start at the core, got to learn the basics and stuff. And I know I've run a bunch of commands that are way more advanced and stuff because I've just read the, you know, I can read a Stack Overflow article, like the best of them, right? And so I can play around, run them, see, get them to work, and then that's it. But that doesn't mean I understand what the heck they're doing, right? So I'd move to Linux from Windows 10 in a heartbeat if it wasn't playing games. Oh, for like, you mean if it wasn't for playing games? Yeah, because it's just not very supportive, right? They're just not really big. All right, cool. I think we got the other Raj calling. Yo, what's up? I'm over here lurking, no problem. Can't help much with Linux stuff here. No worries, it's all good. Appreciate you chilling out. No worries, lurk away, lurk away. Right, we can learn some stuff together. We just learned how to do changing permissions via the numerical implementation instead of the, yeah, right, Windows, well, so it makes Windows a lot more tolerable. And that's rad. Microsoft right, announced at the build conference that Windows will be coming with Linux natively built in now to the operating system. They are really leveraging and leaning heavy on the open source community now. Microsoft really is, I you know, give them props. They're really shifting their whole old business model into the more open source. I mean, they build one of the best tools now that for developers, VS Code, you know, or I shouldn't say they build on it now. It wasn't built by them initially, but they are now. But yeah, so they're really going hardcore into the open source community. They're really embracing it. So I'm all for that, definitely. So Windows is going to be heavy duty supporter of Linux going forward. So who the hell knows, right? I mean, I think it's great. Why not be more diverse? You know, hey, you could get a lot of converters, right? People that hated Windows and Microsoft forever, you know, they really could absorb a lot of people till the death. Okay, so let's switch to the owner permissions. Yeah, that's pretty clutch. Love how the OS layer is more like Mac to just continuous updates, no more Windows 11, 12, 13, blah. Oh, cool. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just knew some of the little basics that they discussed. But that, yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that. So just continuous updates, no more Windows 11, 12, 13, sweet. Just like your browser, right? I mean, obviously they'll have versions of whatever the updates are, but just pushing it out, huh? Nice. I like it. But yeah, I'm totally down with them embracing. I love it. You know, why not? Come together right now, Linux and Windows. No, that's doesn't really go good. So we actually did this already because we jumped ahead because we had to give ownership to one of our files, or we wanted to give ownership to one of our files in here. So we actually did that. But we didn't do this one, change group. That's the one we were looking at, right? So in here we have the JD, right? But the group owner is still root. We wanted to change that. So modify the group ownership. You say, why do you have to sudo it? Oh, I guess I would have to do it from here, sudo, right? If I did sudo change group. What is change group JD? Well, I wonder if that's going to say there's not a group called JD. I might have to be the group might be root actually. Although this one up here is JD because like I created. Okay, let's just see what happens. So I'm changing the group ownership of the Metzenkopf directory to JD. Let's see what happens. Ooh, password for JD or password for, oh, okay. Oh wait, I don't know if that's the password I made it actually. I think I might have just. JD is not in the sudoers group or file. Hold on, I think I got a doggy knocking at the door. Oh yeah, I got the old puppers. The old puppers. Old buddy, coding dog, come to hang out. Otherwise, they can't. You can have you can, let's say, 5 users on Linux, and they are all different names, but you can have them all part of the same group, right? To give them group permissions, right? So when you make a file, have group ownership, they can all access it. Yeah, I would assume that, like, it's funny that, so how do you give, well, first of all, I'd have to exit this, right? How do you give JD? Is that what this does? Sudo su JD, would that make me part of the sudoers group? Not permitted. That's a good question. How do you give somebody sudo permissions? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. Let's look it up. Assign sudoers to user. Oh, I said sudoer, but right. Login root. What? We're already there. Command add new. Okay. It says otherwise they can't. When you create a user, I think by default they are part of their own group. So same name, same group, but you can change their group, right? Yeah, you can, obviously. That's what we were just learning. How to add users to sudoers or sudo group. That's what I was looking for right here. We actually are in Ubuntu, so this is good. So let's see. The sudo command is preferred, means standard user accounts are restricted from performing sensitive tasks, such as viewing the contents of root. This prevents whatever. Yep. Okay. So, however, sometimes you need to run. So, like, yeah, I want to be like a regular user with super user powers, or a super user do, right? Yeah, grants. Okay. So, we already did this yesterday. This was how we added, right? So let's see what this says actually though. Open terminal. The add user command creates a new user plus a group and home directory for that user. But you may get an error message insufficient. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Got it. Add user to sudo group. User mod. Here you go. So most Linux systems grant the. Okay, so in the terminal, enter user mod. I don't know what the A and G stand. Does it say replace? Okay, cool. So let's. Oh, cool. You can type groups and then it tells you. Now verify sudo access switch user to that. Okay, let's try this. I'm assuming this is like user mod assign group sudo to new user. That's kind of what I think that. I like to guess what the flags mean. Who needs to be official? Who cares? All right, so let's go here, right? And we are, let's go back to, let's exit this, go back to root. I would advise against giving any user besides root privileges, but it's Docker environment, so yeah. Well, yeah, but that I've seen that used a lot though, where, so here's what the deal, like, so you have a machine with 5 sysadmins on it, right? Well, each sysadmin would have its own user created, right? And when they're doing stuff as a regular user, they should just do their regular user stuff, right? And there's like best practices behind things like that, right? Like don't use system admin, or don't use elevated privileged accounts to just do regular stuff. Like there's all those kinds of things. But then also, right, if the user has their own, you know, they're their own user, I should say, sorry, in the system, and then they have sudo capability, that allows them to then, like, and obviously there's somebody that has been designated as somebody that they want to have those type of permissions, right? It's somebody that's entrusted in your organization. So you're like, hey, Lisa is a sysadmin, she makes changes on this server, but she may log into the server to just do some little things here that doesn't need sudo privileges. So she does her normal, you know, Lisa account when she's in there, but then she goes and she needs to make some administrative changes. So she switches and leverages her, or it's not switches, right? But she runs her sudo capability against the command so she can execute it, rock and roll. It gets logged anyway, right? You know who executed, and I think that's part of it, right? Because if everybody was root and everybody was using that to make changes in the system, then everything gets logged as the root user did it, right? And I'm assuming, this is an assumption, I don't know if this for sure, but I'm assuming if you are a user and then you use your sudo capability, because if you're adding the user to a sudo or his group, right? So I'm assuming you're still identified as that user in that group. So then when you go to make changes in the logs and everything else, it'll show Lisa used her sudo or command or whatever at some point in, you know, in time there, and shows up in the logs. And this way now you have a security log that shows what people did. If everybody was root, who the hell did it? I don't know. Root did. Right? What do they call that? Non-repudiation, right? You can't deny what you did on a system if you are, you know, like obviously if you have accounts and things, you agree to those things, and that's what they call that, right? Non-repudiation. You can't deny that you did it because you used even if somebody else did it under your credentials, it's technically still your fault. Now, granted, obviously, if they looked into it and found out that it was somebody who hacked into your account or something, obviously there's not whatever. But the gist of it is like, oh, you can't say like, oh, I got up from my desk and walked away and forgot to log out, and somebody else went over and logged in and did shit and whatever. That's part of that. Like you can't. So yeah, it's just so I think that's the mentality behind you giving these permissions to somebody like I'm about to do to myself. User mod. We said we think it's. I already forgot what I said. I think it is right. Sudo JD. Is that right? Okay, so. So now, okay, and then it says, so to check, what is the system to append the user to the specified group? So that's what the A stands for. Append to group, right? Is the A option is only used with the G. Okay, cool. So now I can say groups JD, and JD now is part of sudo, and JD, I guess, right? Are these separated things like JD group? Oh no, maybe not. I don't know. That's cool. All right, so now we know how to look up the system will respond listing the username and all the groups. Okay, so this is a username here. So what if you did? Could you just make up a group? Like, what if I just said, like, you know, okay, does that just create a group, like, automatically? I guess so, right? CodeHustle now is a group? Seems to be. If they hack you and get a backdoor in your PC, they can't do anything without sudo. That damages you, yeah. All right, cool beans. Let's see. Keep going. All right, so I think we kind of got that down. So we're in the now we should be in the sudo group, right? So if I switch to my JD user now, it even tells you, that's kind of interesting, right? To run a command as administrator, use user root, use sudo command, see man sudo root for details. So it lets you even know, like when you come in now, that you are in the sudo group. That's cool. Nice. I like it. Verify sudo access. So we switched that. ls/home. Why does that do anything? Some commands or locations require elevated privileges. Oh, like this, right? Like root. You'll access denied error. Let's see if that's true. ls/root cannot list, right? But if I do sudo ls/root, why does that? Operation not permitted. Why is that a problem? That's an interesting, okay, so what's the deal with that? What's the deal, yo? In container, so this is probably specific. All right, let's see what it tells you this issue is here. This will be good. This will be good. We're doing a bunch of troubleshooting along the way. So when I apparently this warning in Linux rootless containers. Oh, rootless containers. Which is quite annoying. That's true, it is quite annoying. Handling R limit appears to be buggy in Linux containers when sudo tries to restore the original core dump limit. This is fixed by this. Fixed in sudo. Well, we just installed sudo, so why is that being a turd? It is fixed in that one. Okay, hold on. I am new to Linux. Sorry to tell you, but possible new install. I have installed sudo inside Docker container. I did that, right? I did this too. And this notification is still in Docker Ubuntu 20. The only thing that worked was this user said above. Okay, so what did they say to do? Echo set disable core dump false. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Because we did do, oh, well, I didn't necessarily do the update, I don't think. Let's try this. Let's try this real quick and see if this is up to date here. So let me exit here and let's try. This is saying that I'm gonna do that first, right? Make sure that everything's good to go. And then they're saying the only thing that fixed this was sudo is already the newest version, 1831, which is what they did. They did say, hold on. 0 upgrade, 0 newly installed, 0, so nothing new actually happened, right? Okay. So I'm assuming that probably still does not work, right? I was trying to do, right, I was in here, and then I said ls like /root, denied, right? And then I try to do sudo here, that blows up. Okay, so it said, so I'm gonna exit this. Let's see if this actually fixes this. So this is what this is gonna do. We learned this yesterday too, right? Is this will set disable underscore core dump false inside of this file, right? It'll add that to it, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. We still hanging in there? Okay, so let's see if this will actually, so I am in root. If I use this should go ahead and, all right, I'm gonna try and see what happens. All right, cool beans. So now if I switch there, right, if I do this, I still can't get there, but if I do sudo, nothing happened. Sudo ls root. Why did that not show anything? Would that have worked if I didn't sudo? It does. I'm confused now. So, because I'm in here and it's saying like, so this didn't work, right? If I said this root, it says permission denied, right? But when I did sudo ls into root, it doesn't complain, but I'm also not getting anything back. Why is that happening? What's in? Oh, right, because there's only, so let's try that again. Let's, got it. So this is probably because this is, There we go. Okay, cool. So that's why, because there's no directories in there. Just a bunch of freaking. So it looked like it was empty, but it's not for real. Okay, cool. Cool. Go back. This was a long way to get around to this, huh? Okay, it's good learning. It's good learning. Okay, so we did the group modify, right? Hold on, where am I at here? Change directories back to my home. Let's LL that one. That's our alias, LL, in case you didn't know. And what did we, let's change. So you can do, can I just do this without the change group? Change group JD on Metzenkoff, right? There it goes. Okay, so that's now that's part of group JD. All right, cool. So that works. Now what is this colon thing? If you add a colon and group name after the user, you can set both the user and the group at the same time. Ooh, that's handy. So change owner, Patty, and also change its group to Wales. Ooh, that's super handy. So if I wanted to like, let's do this real quick. So I can say chown root on, and like, so basically switching this back to what it was. Ooh, why not? Yeah, bastard. Let's see. I'll show you. Can't tell me. You work now, don't you? Yeah, you do. Look at that. And we only were able to do that because we added ourselves back to the sudoers group, right? All right, let's fix its permissions too, right? So let's do, change mod. So it's chmod, and we're gonna do, we want to do like for Metzenkoff, right? Really? Really? Oh, because it's root owned now, right? Right. So let's do this again. Well, I'm gonna have to do this, right? Sudo change owner JD of Metzenkoff, right? So now we're back to where I own it. So now I should be able to do things like change the owner, or chmod, sorry, that directory back to 755 Metzenkoff, right? See, now because I own it, I was able to make that, change, and there we go. Cool. Sweet awesomeness. Cool. All right, so we got that. I like this one. This is a handy little dandy thing right here, huh? Pop that colon in there. Just got to remember that chown is the change owner is the command, not like whatever. So you just change owner, and that does the user and the group. That's definitely a handy one. So unmask. Every file that gets created comes with a default set of permissions. If you ever wanted to change the default set of permissions, you can do so with umask command. This command takes the 3-bit permission set we see in numerical permissions. Instead of adding these permissions, though, umask takes away these permissions. Create a new file, then note its permissions. Modify the umask and then create another new file. Check the permissions once more on the new file. What do you expect to see? So in the above example, we are stating that we want the default permissions of the new files to allow user access to everything. But for groups, we want to take away their right permission. What the hell is this thing? 0 to, oh wait. It's saying, so in the example, the default, the new files allow users access to everything. So that's 0. And then, but for groups we want to take away their right permissions, the default UMask on most is 022, meaning all user access, but no right. That is confusing as shit. When you, I don't think this is very important. Here I am. That's not important. Don't worry about this. Set UID. This, I think, there are many cases in which normal users need elevated access to do stuff. This is what we were talking about earlier. The system administrator can't always be there to enter in a root password every time a user needs access to a protected file. So there are special file permission bits to allow this behavior. The set user ID allows a user to run a program as the owner of the program file rather than themselves. Okay, so let's look at an example. Let's say I want to change my password. Simple, right? I just use password. What is the password command doing though? It's modifying a couple of files, but most importantly, it's modifying the Etsy shadow file. Let's look at that file for a second. ls, I mean, we can do that, right? Although I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the root user because it'll be much easier. So ls right? Okay. So that's what we see. Oh, wait a minute here. This file is owned by root, right? Okay, that's fine. How is it possible that we're able to modify a file owned by root? Well, I'm in root right now, so let's look at another permission set, this time of the command we ran. What? You'll notice a new permission bit here, S. Where? Where do you see S? S where? This permission bit is the SUID. Oh, I guess they're not telling that one right there, right? I guess is what they're showing. Or no, maybe not. What are they showing? What are they pointing about? S. The permission bit is the SUID. When a file has the permission set, it allows users who launch the program to get the file owner's permission as well as execution permission, in this case root. So essentially while a user is running the password command, they are running as root. Okay, that makes sense. So why are we able to access a protected file like shadow when we run password command? Now, if you remove that bit, you would see that you will not be able to modify Etsy shadow, therefore change your password. I don't still see what they mean by, oh, S. I see what they're saying, S right here. Got it. I didn't see that. And that, so this is the user, right? So they have read, write, and S. This permission bit is the SUID. Got you. So when a file has permission set, it allows the user to launch the program to get the file. So if I'm the user JD, I launch password, it gets the owner of that command, right, basically, or program, the owner's permission and their execution permission. So like, again, this is root that does the password, so that's who you're like emulating, right? You're kind of like inheriting their permissions for a moment. So essentially, while users running the password command, they are okay. Okay, sometimes you have to read through things twice. So that's why we're able to access the protected file like this when we run password command. Now, if you remove that bit, you would see that you would not be able to modify and therefore change your password. Not a good idea. So just like regular permissions, there are two ways to modify. So sudo chmod user add s. That makes sense. The same way, right? And then, ooh, what's the numerical way? That's like a whole extra. So you just add a, as you can see, the SUID denoted by a 4 and prepended to the permission set. You may see SUID denoted as a capital S. This means that it still does the same thing, but it does not have execute permissions. So a capital S in front of here, in front of the 755? I guess that's what that means. But this 4, I guess, is denoted by a 4. Okay. Cool. I don't think I really need to make any changes on this right now, but I've seen this used. Where did I see this recently? This was like where we were giving another service like permission to do things, and so it executes like as its SUID. Okay, cool. That's kind of cool. So there's a set that, and then there's gonna be this one, a set GID. Right, similar to set user ID, group ID, or denoted with a 2, numerical. Okay, I think I got that down. Process permission. So let's segue into process permissions for a bit. Remember how I told you that when you run the password command with the SUID permissions bit enabled, you will run the program as root? That is true. However, does that mean since you are temporarily root, you can modify other user password? No, fortunately not. This is because of the many UIDs that Linux implements. There are 3 UIDs associated with every process. When you launch a process, it runs with the same permissions as the user or group that ran it. This is known as an effective user ID. The user ID is used to grant access rights to process. So naturally, if Bob ran touch command, the process would run as him, and any files he created would be under his ownership. There is another UID called the real user ID. This is the ID of the user that launched the process. These are used to track down who the user who launched the process is. And then one last one is saved user ID. This allows a process to switch between the effective user ID and the real, and vice versa. This is useful because we don't want our process to run with elevated privileges all the time. Okay, so now let's place these all together by looking at the password command once more. When running the password command, your effective UID is your user ID. Let's say it's 500 for now. But wait, remember the password command has SUID permissions enabled? So when you run it, your effective UID is now 0, because 0 is root. Now this program can access files as root. Let's say you get a little taste of power and you want to modify Sally's password. Sally has a user ID of 600. Well, you'll be out of luck. Fortunately, the process also has your real user ID, in this case 500. So it knows that your user ID is 500 and therefore you can't modify the password for user ID 600. This of course is always bypassed if you are a super user on a machine and can control and change everything. So since you ran password, it will start the process of using, this is Metzinkoff, right? Like this is where this would be helpful earlier I was saying, like, where you were saying that, like, don't necessarily assign sudo to people. This would be good where you can give them this like special permission, right, without giving them a sudo, so they could run programs and stuff as like, because you need them to, but they don't necessarily have to have sudo, is what it kind of sounds like this is getting at. So we'll see. So since you ran password, it will start the process off using your real user ID, which in this case they're talking about, right, is 500, right? No, the effective user ID is 500. Or no, wait, hold on. And it will, what did this say? And your real unit is, yeah, right. So it has a effective and it has a real. So that, I got it. Okay. Sorry. I just, it takes a little bit, right? That takes a minute to set that in to your brain. So then, so you can switch between the two. No need to modify all files with root access if not required. Most of the time, real user ID and effective user are the same, but in such cases as the password command, they will change. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, this will be interesting. Let's try this real quick. Oh, wrong one. Can you split this off like this? Cool. So this said to do run. Let me just steal this. Okay, so in this window, right, it says in this window, run watch da 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 da. So this is running now, right? This is what this looks like this. I like the little gobbledygook like that, but there you go. So that's running there like that, right? And then it said on this one here, oh wait, first of all, I need to get into here. And then let's change to the GAD user, right? What? Oh, that spun up a whole new container that doesn't have any of the stuff in it. That's the downfall of not mounting volumes. So I can't really do this. Well, hold on. Can I? Could I do this? I'm gonna close this one. No. Cancel that. Can I put this back in here? We'll let you rejoin tabs together. It doesn't look like it. I'm just going to minimize that for now so I don't blow this up. If I was to Command T here, see, that doesn't. So I really can't do it. I can't watch it. So this is here. Yeah, I won't be able to watch this. That's okay. Shit happens. Okay, so let's... What's this last one here? Sticky bit. What's so sticky about it, huh? So saying one last special permission bit I want to talk about is the sticky bit. This permission bit sticks a file directory. This means that only the owner or the root user can delete or modify the file. It's basically like locking it down to this is very useful for shared directories. Take a look at the example. So here's the temp directory. You'll see a special permission T right at the end there, the T. This means everyone can add files, write files, modify files in the temp directory, but only root can delete the temp directory. Only root can delete. Huh? I don't get that. What do you mean by that? This means only the owner root can delete or modify the file. Directory, but only root can delete. Okay. The numerical representation for the sticky bit is 1. So you just do that. It's again like the other one, right? Where you put the, what is it, 4 in the front for the special permissions. So the sticky bit 1. So this basically says that nobody can delete or modify directory, my directory, other than root or the owner, right? Okay. Cool. Fair enough. It's like protecting the file or directory, right? Sweet. Oh, I think I'm gonna call it here. It's already 11:30. Didn't even realize. Got work tomorrow. Alright, cool. I think I'll leave it there. Cool, we got through permissions. So now, when we move on, we'll be looking at this. Processes. Controlling the terminal, process detail. This is good. All right, this is all about process IDs and niceness. Process state, job control, process termination and creation. Nice. Okay, cool. This is good shit here. Nice. We'll learn about process. Cool. All right, I like it. All right, well, I believe that's all she wrote, folks. I hope everybody has a good evening, has a good week this week. You know, I hope everybody... All right, cool. All right, well, I will see you all tomorrow, and I hope you have a good night, and we will talk soon. Until then, keep up the code hustle. Check you later. Peace.